6. Hello, #VerseTV family, and welcome. It's week 226. I'm Aaron Mack, and I'm here with my good friend Kevin, aka and CVC Basic Complexity, and he will take it away with the I do the number, then you do the new song, then I do the old song. So for our number share program of the week, doesn't it sound so fun when you call it a number share program? It's all about sharing. You have to share. So let's start off with the first two presses. And we wait and wait and wait and wait. Okay. What was the situation that you initially thought was terrible, but ended up being a blessing in disguise? Huh. Part of me wants to say I'll skip it, but since the thing went away, I won't. Anyway, I think I can classify that a number of my relationships, and I don't use such negative terminology, it's such extreme terminology, and thinking about my exes or people in my past, gentlemen of my past. But I'll say, assuming something like that, I do try to learn something from every single relationship that I've had. So it turns into something good. I like to see it that way. I always try to learn something from every one of my relationships. Like, I don't know if you do this too, Kevin, Basic Complexity, but after a relationship has come to a close of mine, I look back on it and I'm like, well, what was the lesson in that? The blessing in disguise, if you will. Anyway, Basic Complexity, the newer song.
All right, the newer song is actually a song called, and I just heard this recently, like the other day. But the song is called Tonight, and this by Tamika Scott featuring Method Man. Now, for those of you that don't know, Tamika Scott is one of the ladies from the group Escape that's been around for a long time. And Method Man is what I like to classify him at, like, as, which is one of the original, like, hip hop heavyweights from back in the day. And the song overall, I think it's real cool, and it's definitely a song I think is worth checking out. So yeah, like I said, the song is called Tonight, and it's by Tamika Scott featuring Method Man. And that's what I have.
Okay. I actually do have quite a bit to comment on that, but I will save that if we have time for the end of the show. You see, I was keeping my lips pursed. Anyway, I know that's a lot. Whatever. So my older song of the week is none other than November 25th, 1985's I've Learned to Respect the Power of Love by Stephanie Mills. And that is a powerful song. That is from her self-titled 10th debut album, or her 10th, well, not 10th debut, but her 10th album, which was actually her self-titled album, Stephanie Mills. And the song is written in B flat major, which for my music heads out there, I'll say it was interesting because listening to it at first, like the way it started off, the chords in the beginning, I'm like, these are sad chords. This song must be written in a minor key, but it's not. It's written in a major key. And then as I listened to the rest of the song even more, I'm like, oh no, that wasn't a minor key. It's an emotional song. She talks about how she's grappled with love, back and forth, and eventually she had to wave the proverbial white flag and give up on fighting love because she's learned to respect the power of love. And I feel that's true for myself as well. Also, as far as November 25th, 1985, that was just a few weeks from when my marvelous brother entered the world as a little baby, which was so cool. Anyway, but yeah. Yeah, meanings of song are subjective, of course, and I please let me give this one particularly powerful line that stuck with me. When she says, "Helpless I cannot further be driven." I'm like, oh my gosh, in the battle of love, because love has also been tough on me, it's been hard. And it's like, helpless I cannot further be driven. Ugh. Lyrics, okay, thank you. Anyway, also, last little tiny piece. Years ago, I volunteered at, I think it was Baltimore's AFRAM, and Stephanie Mills was one of the guest artists there. And I posted on my Twitter, and we're going to get into Twitter today, right, Kevin?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I posted on my Twitter, like, oh, I'm super excited. Stephanie Mills is going to be here at AFRAM. So cool. And Stephanie Mills herself actually clicked like on my post. I felt so, thank you, Stephanie Mills. I felt like a rock star. And that's super cool. It's amazing how when you live in a place, you don't experience all of the amazingness of the place until you leave, and it's been that way with DC. It was that way with me in Baltimore. I tried to experience a lot of Baltimore. Like, that's why I was volunteering at AFRAM, trying to get out there, but Baltimore's got a lot of amazing stuff. And I'm sure Cleveland has a lot of amazing stuff too. I just need to explore. What do you say about that, Kevin? And then we'll go into the other thing right quick.
No, I will definitely say I agree. And wow, this was a long time ago. But I was at my apartment at that time and sitting there thinking to myself, like, I was living in Maryland and I was like, hold up, I'm in was considered the DC suburbs. And I'm like, I could easily get on the train, go to downtown DC, and I see stuff people pay thousands of money in travel from around the world to see. Like, I just one day I was like, all right, I'm gonna go. I've never been inside, but I wanted to go see the White House, and I was able to do that. It was no.
Right. You said you were able to do that, and then I said right, and you
Oh,
stopped. What?
I said it was no biggie.
I know. It's amazing how we miss things when we live in a place. Like I'm living here in Cleveland, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is right up the street, and I still haven't gone back since my childhood. Anyway, when I actually lived in New York. But oh, before we do the topics of the week, guess what? Guess what I forgot last week, Kevin? And I know you remember, but let me see if you will call me out on
Uh, I can't think of what you forget.
the thank yous to
Oh,
everyone in the hashtag First TV family around the globe. Spain, thank you. Thank you. Uh, hmm, that's interesting. Montenegro, thank you. Egypt, thank you. Czech Republic, thank you. Brazil, thank you. United Kingdom, thank you. Paraguay, Paraguay, thank you. India, thank you. Germany, thank you. Belgium, thank you. United States, thank you. Thank you all so much. And Basic Complexity and I really appreciate you all sticking with us. Yes, yes, we do. Thank you. All right. And the topics for the week are hashtag global directory, lower hashtag VOIP reborn, hashtag granola blow, in parentheses, hashtag marriage maintenance, hashtag fan fiction, hashtag full term, hashtag the connections, hashtag polyamorous poise. Basic Complexity, are you ready to get this show on the road, my friend?
yep.
Hashtag global directory at business_today, hashtag FirstTV226A. Business Today, Danny DeCruz, New Delhi, updated August 31st, 2023, 2:09 p.m. Elon Musk has announced that X will be getting an audio and video calls feature very soon. He has also specified that the new feature will be compatible with Android, iOS, PC, and Mac. Elon Musk claims that audio and video calls can be made without any phone number. Implying the same, he said, X is the effective global address book. Article continues.
My initial reaction is connected with my connection, and that it reminded me of my Glow phone, I thought it was called, but I looked it up and it's like maybe it was called Globe phone, but it's VoIP, voice over IP, and hearing Elon Musk talk about allowing Instagram to make calls to people within, not Instagram, Twitter, X. It's called X, to make calls to people and no phone number required. And he emphasized that. And it's like, so you're emphasizing no phone number required a lot, which makes me feel that it's different from Facebook Messenger, because Facebook Messenger is that thing, you get on it, you can call people who have Facebook Messenger and all of that. But if he's talking VoIP, which is still a thing, VoIP is still a thing. If he's talking about that and putting that on Twitter and like you can get your own phone number from Twitter, VoIP, it's like, okay, that's cool. He's entering a new world of marketing that Facebook is not in. So it's like, oh, okay, that would be an interesting difference. And I would say it's cool. Like that would be a cool reimagination for X, also known as Twitter. But X, like that would be cool. And VoIP does have a market. And since I have a few extra seconds, I'm going to add, I will also say, it reminded me of my my old bar phone with a fold-out keyboard. I don't know if you remember you remember that?
You talking about
I don't know the brand name. I just know it was a bar phone that you would fold out and there would be a little keypad for texting.
Thinking because in the past, and it could be so wrong, I'm thinking it was a certain type of phone which I had for a very short period of time.
And speaking of phones for a period of time, I also had a clamshell Boost phone. I love that Boost phone with that walkie-talkie feature. I don't think I ever see people would be so outgoing with it. Like they'd be on the train, like talking on their walkie-talkie, like, hey, what's up? Where you at? But I'm at over here on it. And it's like talking just loud as can be on the public train. But okay. Anyway. Basic complexity.
Okay. Oh, and it was definitely looking up. Alright, so this whole thing sounds oddly similar to, as you said, Facebook, I guess, Messenger, which already is video and audio messenger itself, or capabilities. So, like, in the long run, I don't think it's anything new. And that's that.
I will go on the record and say that in my 1 minute, if he is looking to go down the exact same route as Facebook Messenger, but with Twitter, I think that's a misstep. Dare I say another misstep with Twitter? I mean X, because Facebook has that. It's like, I get it, talking about how it's a global directory because a lot of people have Twitter. A lot of people do have Twitter. A lot of people already have Facebook. So it's like you're, what are you going to try to beat Facebook, aka now Meta? Are you going to try to beat them at it, or are you going to do something different? And if you do something with VOIP, then that's something different. And okay, you're entering a new realm. And I dig and respect that. Cool. Huh. This thing is right in the way. Okay. Sure enough. But as for my one sentence, I say, I am Team Twitter / Team X. And Twitter actually takes me back to my old singing group when we auditioned at Apollo. And we, interestingly enough, we were a singing group, but we were like, let's audition for Apollo as solo acts. And each of us sang our own audition. And I will say, let me say this about myself, just in case some other young 20-something wants to go to audition for Apollo or something. When I sang the song, like I didn't realize that like they're not just looking for your ability to hit notes. They're looking for your performance, and you perform. And I sang my song, and I did it the whole time like this, like because I was nervous, and I was like, and I hit all the notes, but I did not perform for a piece of anything. I was just like up in the sky, and they were like, thank you, we've heard enough, thanks. And anyway, but that was that. And as far as connecting Twitter to my old group, while we were waiting in line, this guy started asking about us, and we were like, yeah, we're solo singers, but we also sing in a group. And he was like, you know what you all should do? You should name yourself after that newfangled Twitter thing. You should call yourselves Twitter. But we were intake, ENTAKE, and accent 4, AXENT 4. Anyway, basic complexity. And then I'll read the family question after.
Okay. This entire situation sounds like Elon Musk thinks that because he has money that he could change anything. Does not work like that. That's what I have.
Wow. I would engage you in conversation about that, but because okay. The hashtag VersTV family yes or no question is, if X gets actual voice over IP, VoIP, with unique telephone numbers, unlike Facebook Messenger, might you increase your X use? Now, I actually have no need to add that. Basic complexity. Are you ready for topic B, which you go first?
Right. Yeah.
Hashtag granola blow at Chisha Z, hashtag VersTV226B.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chisha Z.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
A divorce attorney's thoughts on love and marriage, James Saxton.
By the time your tooth hurts, something is already seriously wrong. By the time you're in a divorce lawyer's office, you're the whole thing's at that point. Like, you'd be better off just, figuring out the preventative maintenance, right? Like, change the oil in your car. Like, so if you reverse engineer divorce, like most people, the marriage killer, you know, the cheating or the gambling or the whatever, that's the symptom. Like the problem is these little disconnections, you know? One of the best stories I have is I had a client who I did her divorce, and we'd spend a lot of time together, because you do, you know, when you're a divorce lawyer, you spend a lot of time with people and you get to know them very well. I mean, people will lie to their therapist. They won't lie to their divorce lawyer because A, there's no reason to, and B, you know, I need to know everything, and it's all attorney-client privilege. And this woman, we were sitting outside the courtroom waiting on a break in testimony. And she was a young woman in her probably like late 30s, you know, very attractive. And we were just chit-chatting, and I said to her, you know, was there a moment when you realized the marriage is over? You know, like, was there a moment? And she said, yeah. And I said, when was it? And she said, there was this granola that I like. She said, they only sold it at like this particular grocery store, and I like to put it in my yogurt. And she said, he used to always, whenever I'd be running low on it, I would just open the thing one day and a new bag would be there. She's like, and she's like, it made me feel so loved. Like, I didn't have to ask. He didn't want credit for it. Like, he didn't go like, oh, did you see? I got your granola that you wanted. You know, like, he just would do this thing, you know? And she said it was just something that, like, it always made me smile. She said every time the granola was running low and there was a new bag of granola, I just felt very loved, you know? And she said one day the granola ran out. And I thought, oh, that's weird. You know, maybe he didn't see it. She's like, so I left the bag in there because I thought, well, at some point he'll notice. And he didn't notice. She goes, so I took the bag out. And I waited, and he didn't get a new bag. And I thought, okay, this thing's going down. And I thought to myself, wow, that's like, you know, that's such a small thing, like granola. Like, you just, but these are the things, like, these are the little things that make us feel loved and that are gestures of love. And when I said to her, was there anything like that for you with him? And she said, yeah, blowjobs. And I almost spit out my coffee.
Oh. There we go. We found it, guys. The man drinks coffee. Guys, I don't pick these videos. It just so happens to be that when it makes sense, it's usually coming from an addict to caffeine. Let's keep listening. Drink the coffee, make you feel better.
And she goes, no. She goes, when we were first dating and even first married, she's like, I used to give him blowjobs a lot. She's like, you know, do it in the morning, took 2 minutes. And he was like super happy the rest of the day, you know? She's like, the rest.
Hold on. We're not going to skip over the 2 minutes. Listen, if it's done in 2 minutes, that's a good blowjob. Let's keep listening.
The rest of the day, he would like call me or text me and be like, oh, that was so good this morning. You know, I had such pep in my step.
This.
All right.
Sorry. All right, so after hearing this, and just based on my own and friends' relationship experience, I can honestly, or I honestly think it comes down to basically communication. A lot of issues could be solved, but not all, through communication. That's what I have.
Okay. I will say, one, I thought it was super cool and interesting how he referred to the woman as a young woman in her late 30s, because I know when I was in my late 30s, before I crossed into 40, I did not see late 30s as young. But he's like, she was young. So now I'm kind of thinking more about, like, when I talk to people, I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm 40. I'm old and 40, you know, well, not old and 40, but I'm 40. And people will respond and be like, well, you know, that's not that old, you know. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I don't know. But age is relative. And as far as the lawyer talking about, once you're seeing a divorce attorney, you're effed. I can't speak either way on that. I just know that I'd like to think that there's hope always, that there's never no hope. I do feel that it was interesting when he talked about the symptoms versus the core issue. Like the getting into arguments in the relationship, like that's a symptom. But the core issue was something like talking about the granola or the blowjobs, you know, granola blow, hence the name. And when I think seeing a therapist is always important. Yes. Now, when he mentioned her telling that the man, when she would give him a blowjob in the mornings, he would like call her and be like, I feel so great because of that blowjob. Thank you so much. I'm having a great day at work and I have a little extra pep in my step and all of that. And it's interesting because I did do that for one of my exes once. And he called me that day and said that exact thing. And that was before this video, like clearly before this video. So something about giving a dude a blowjob before work, I guess, or whatever, just makes him feel good. But when he called me and said that, I was like, oh, that's just an anecdotal coincidence. Whatever. Like, thank you, but okay, cool. And I will say that what this lawyer said, especially watching the whole video, kind of scared me on marriage a little bit. Anyway, basic complexity or one squared.
Yes, basically, always keep the lines of communication open because that could be a huge help. And yeah.
Okay, I take it.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's F.
And I will say, hearing sometimes dismal divorce numbers can make marriage feel like just a game to like see if you can beat the divorce percentage, be a part of the smaller percentage of people who don't get divorced. And that's unfortunate. I'd like to think I, like probably everybody else, would like the idea of going into marriage with the thinking in terms of it being forever, because that's what you say. So that's what it should be, right?
Yeah.
Together forever and ever to part. I will also say, FYI, this is a little factoid tidbit that I learned. Gay divorces, SGL divorces, homo divorces actually cost more than hetero divorces at this point in time. FYI, so you better keep your partner anyway. And the hashtag VerseTV family question, family yes or no question is, do you see it as predominantly a whimsical naivete marriage? Do you see it as a predominantly whimsical naivete? base complexity. Are you ready for C? And would you go first?
Yes.
Hashtag fan fiction. At Untouchable Yan. Hashtag VerseTV226C.
So I was watching the Republican debate and something really stuck out to me.
We're better than what the Democrats are selling. We are not going to allow abortion all the way up till birth. And we cannot let states like California, New York, and Illinois have abortions on demand up until the day of birth.
There's more.
I would love is for someone to ask Biden and Kamala Harris, are they for 38 weeks? Are they for 39 weeks? Are they for 40 weeks?
The campaign rhetoric suggesting that late-term abortions happen frequently is a lie. I'm going to give you the facts. Over 2/3 of abortions happen before 8 weeks. 90% of abortions happening before 12 weeks. And a whopping 1.3% of abortions are happening after 21 weeks. There is such an evilness and insensitivity to why women are even getting these procedures at that particular point in their pregnancy. When at that stage, many people have experienced some sort of catastrophic fetal abnormality or something that could lead to the woman literally dying. Like, we're not going to sit here and act like 96% of congressional Republicans didn't vote against birth control. And these are the same people who want to cut funding for safety net programs, who consider housing assistance lazy, who don't think people should get food stamps. You know, the things that actually help you provide for a child. You don't want people making informed decisions about their own bodies and their own health. It's simple. Family planning should be for families. There is no reason this private matter should be up for public debate like this.
I always found it extremely interesting how mainly Republicans constantly talk about late-term abortions as if it's extremely common, which it's not. It's extremely rare. And yeah, that's just what I have.
So I will say I am very much pro-choice, and I feel a need to establish that first. I am pro-choice, yes. And I will say it seems like people in power simply do not care about women. And constituents of a particular party not only do they not care about women, or perhaps don't care about women, but they certainly don't care about doing research because, yes, Kevin, like you said, like she said, late-term abortions are very rare, a very small amount. And generally, like she explained, it's just for the sake of saving somebody, like saving the woman who might die. But the people in power often don't care about women in the first place. So that's a problem. And FYI, when you talk about the woman who was like, so Senator Harris or Vice President Harris, President Biden, is it 38 weeks? Is it 39 weeks? Is it 40 weeks? It's like 40 weeks is the actual full term of the pregnancy. So I heard somebody once say that, you know, at 40 weeks, that's not called an abortion. That's called giving birth. You know, it's like people are so ridiculous. But again, people don't like doing their research. They just hear big numbers and they like getting emotional. And like I'm willing to bet, based on the knowledge or lack thereof of people, they could probably get up and say, what are you talking about? Having an abortion in the 90th week? Like, what? Please. What's that? Like, 50 weeks after, anyway, but whatever. Sometimes, anyway. But yeah, that just motivates people to get emotional and donate money to the campaign. Now, I will say also, seeing that Black man speak on it, I was like, who is that running for Republican office? Is that my beautiful Ben Carson again? But anyway, zip. And it's actually Tim, not Tim Meadows, Tim Scott. And I looked up Tim Scott, and I will save this for my 1 minute. You're 1 squared, Kevin?
Yes. It's right. It's very interesting to me how they are so against it unless their side piece gets pregnant. Then it's secret. Don't say nothing. And that's happened countless times. And yeah, that's what I have.
I'll say that's unless they say you can have your child, but move 3 states away and raise the child away from me, away from us. That happens too. And the reason that I'm kind of on the fence about going into too much detail with my particular example there is a politician that I actually liked had that exact situation. Anyway, whatever. But people do what they do. As for Tim Scott, yes, he is not married. And when you look up Tim Scott, that tends to be a big thing. That one of the first things about he's not married. He's not married. He doesn't have kids. And at first I was like, oh, well, maybe that means he's gay. I don't think it's right to do that to people. Just because they're not married and don't have kids, that doesn't make them gay. He might be, but he might not be. That's not my place to judge. Now, I will say this, as he was almost married in his 40s. He's 56, but that's another story. I will say that people talk about having a right to speak on abortion and such. It's like, he's not even married. How can he speak on that? It's like, but there are other people who have equally closed-minded points of view, and they are married with children. So it's like, I don't know if it's right to hold that alone against somebody. I don't think it's necessarily the best, but I don't think it should be held against them alone. And, can I take a little extra time and talk about my mommy?
Go for it.
So I did want to say, in reference to rough pregnancies, throughout her entire life, my mom never, ever, ever told me that she had a rough pregnancy with me. It wasn't until she passed away that some in my family were like, you know, your mom had a rough delivery. And I was like, really? And I didn't know that, because whenever I would ask my mom, how was it giving birth to me? Her answer would always be, well, and see, even when I was talking to you about this before the show, I started to cry, and it's starting to make me cry again. But she's like, well, Aaron, I just went to sleep, and when I woke up, your grandmother handed you to me. And I realized subsequently that oh, yes, she had a C-section. No, they don't give out C-sections just because. She had a C-section because I was not an easy delivery. So that's why the hospital was like, we want her to have a C-section to deliver this baby. And years ago, when I would listen to the podcast, the Gay Christian Network, I don't know if that's still around, but I think it was pretty cool. And I would listen to the Gay Christian Network. And one time they had a dude on there, a hetero guy, hetero ally, who was giving the story of his wife's pregnancy and how when his wife gave birth to their son, who ended up gay, it was a rough pregnancy. And he was saying that through some of his research, it seems when women have rough pregnancies, and he did make it like this, but he was like, it's like God blesses them with a gay child to connect, because he was like, that child, my son, connected with his mom so much, was so connected with her, you know? And it's interesting how that can go. Anyway. Okay. I will say, as far as my one sentence, and I was kind of holding if you wanted to throw something in there, but you don't have to. As for my one sentence, I'll say, it feels like society simply does not care about the women who are here. They only care about the child in the belly. And for the women who are here, they're like, go on with you, okay? Make way for the new and improved model, you know? And it's like, that's problematic. That's, not only is that problematic, that's despicable. Despicable. Anyway. The hashtag VerseTV family question is, do you think the unmarried childless population will or should eventually have equal opportunity for success in politics?
Okay.
One of my family members one time, when I was young, not a kid, but like in college, was watching a presentation of somebody who was running for office. And he was, my family member was like, that's not a wife. That's you and your daughter. Do you have no wife? No. You can't run for politics with me. No. And I remember I was like, oh my gosh, like that's tough. Anyway, or you can't run for office with me. Anyway, are you ready for topic D, in which I will go first?
Yeah.
Hashtag the connections at PolyamFam, hashtag VerseTV226D.
A lot of you have been asking how my poly relationships work since I started posting videos with my partners. So, let's talk about it. I don't really feel comfortable talking about other people's sexualities on my channel, but I'll talk about my own and how our relationships fit together. For most of my life, I identified as straight, but in the last couple of years I've been coming to terms with my own queerness, and I now identify as queer. Paige is my wife, and we've been married for 6 years. Our marriage started monogamous, but about 4 of those years have been polyamorous. Grace is also my partner, and we've been seeing each other for a little over a year. Paige and Grace are not partners with each other. Kyle is Paige's boyfriend, and they've also been seeing each other about a year. Kyle is not partnered with me or Grace. Paige and Grace are currently my only two partners, but all three of them have other partners outside of the four of us. And none of our relationships are closed. A lot of popular polymedia representation comes in the form of closed triads, thruples, whatever you want to call them. But from my experience, this is how most polyamorous relationships work. People having the relationships they want and managing each individual one as they see fit. Sure, it can get a little complicated to manage and explain, but I think it's beautiful that we all have the ability to customize our relationships however we want.
I agree with him 100%. I do think that is a beautiful progression of society, allowing people to customize their relationships to whatever they want it to be. I think that's a beautiful thing. I will say for myself, I am a little bit more conservative. So I do just want a monogamous relationship, one-on-one. You know, it's just like the old show. But yeah, well, not just like the old show, it's a different show. But one-on-one, me and my partner, you know. And in terms of the poly thing, while the poly thing is cool, I ask, is the love always evenly distributed among the parties?
No.
I question. And I find it to be, and what he said was an intriguing view of poly. And I also ask, who gets the soup when somebody's sick? In the poly relationship, who will bring you your soup when somebody is sick? And as somebody with a big diagnosis, if you will, a lifetime diagnosis, multiple sclerosis, stuff like that does run through my mind. Like, who will bring you the chicken noodle soup when you're sick? I don't know. And yeah, because people sometimes, I've experienced, get bored with me and my MS situation. It starts off cute and noble, like, hi, I'm dating a man with a disability. I'm special. Look at me. Like Jennifer Lewis and Jackie's Back. Look at me. Look at me. I'm with a disabled man. It's like, anyway. But that's also an insecurity of mine that has me, I've at times run the risk of pushing away good partner with my insecurity. You just want to be with me for the sake of being with a disabled person until you get bored with me. Then you'll throw me away. And then who's going to get my soup? Anyway, but poly makes the move on. I question if it makes moving on from somebody easier or more difficult. And other people are there to occupy your time. Yes, it's complexity. I'll finish in my 1 minute.
All right. I personally have always been a monogamous person. With like polyamorous relationships was never really my thing. Nothing against those that do it. Like, do you? It's just not for me. And yeah, that's just the way, really, that's really the way I've always been. And yeah, it might possibly have something to do with me initially living in a southern community. So that's just the way I look at it. But I mean, like I said, like you do you, whatever it is, do you think? And that's what I have.
Maryland is northern, but it's called the Old Line State for a reason.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So I will also say that, and I'll follow this into a question for you. One of my exes, in terms of people being like, I'm with the disabled boys, so I'm noble. And one of my exes, one time he was like, wanted to go to Six Flags Gay Day. And I was like, that's a lot of walking. I don't think, and that was before I even had to use a cane. But that was still a lot of walking. So I was like, I don't think I can do that. And he was like, I hate being with you, bitch. He didn't call me a bitch, but he was like, you holding me back, because he needed a ride. Anyway, but my question for you is, just thinking about Six Flags Gay Day, I would bet that there are people who would show up at the park and be like, it's gay day. Heck no, and leave. And there would probably be people who would say that and make sure they complain first. And as a former Six Flags employee, would you be the one to table those complaints about how dare you all have a gay day?
To be told, probably yes.
What you mean, probably?
I mean,
did you or didn't you
get those complaints? I'm saying I probably would get those complaints.
Yeah, people
get anything from it? No.
And I would have, like, I get it. Wait, you said, did they get anything from it?
Yeah.
What would they do? Complain and want a refund?
Yeah.
They should know they wouldn't get a refund from you. I bet you didn't give a refund to anybody. You were probably like one of the...
It was rare, but I did.
Mm-hmm. That's why you worked your way up to manager, because they were like, oh, he doesn't give refunds to people. Mm-hmm.
If it was legitimate, then yes, I would.
And almost nothing would be legitimate with you. But anyway. Oh, I'll also say, as for the poly relationship, I am not big on sex. So for me, a poly relationship would probably just manifest as a group of friends who are also cuddle buddies. Yeah. But again, I ask, who brings the soup when somebody's sick, when somebody needs it? And, oh, wait a minute. No, you did your thing. That was my 1 minute. Your 1 minute. If you have one. If not, I'll talk.
I think I do. Just that everyone is different when it comes to relationships. Stick with whatever works for you personally. I know that's different with everyone.
It is. Were you done?
Yeah, I was just gonna say this all I had.
It is different with everyone. I do ask though, what if I think of myself and the fact that it's like I am pro monogamy. I'm team monogamy all the way, period. I wonder how much of that comes from an outside influence. Being like, well, that's the way people live most comfortably. And years of my being in religion class and all that stuff, you know, maybe that's plays a role. Maybe if I was a Gen Zer, I would be more open to it. But I am team monogamy. Do you think monogamy is going the way of the dinosaur?
In all honesty, I really have no idea. But I would definitely, and I'm proud to say that I am older millennial, or what they call us, Xennials, something like that.
That too.
Yeah. So, yeah, my mindset is probably a little different from the younger millennials.
I don't think everyone is at the point of just having open relationships.
Right.
And I think that people will love who they love, and some people will be polygamist, some people will be monogamous. Polyandry versus polygamy. Polygamy is the marriage, and I looked that up before the show. Polygamy is being married to multiple people. Polyandry, I think, is just being in relationship with multiple people. I don't know, because I think back to my days in my early to mid 20s when I actually had a big group of friends. And it's like, friends, would we, I don't know, like if we were all Gen Xers, some physical interaction might have slipped in at some point. I don't know. I don't know these things. Anyway, the hashtag Verse TV family question. If you were presented with a 100% effective functioning method to successfully obtain and maintain a polyamorous relationship, would you do it? Basic complexity, are you ready for RE?
Yes.
Hashtag Cerebral TV 226 at the Manny at _individualist at the Isabel Brown at Mike Michero.
Man escapes prison after 15 years, then breaks into a house to look for money. He finds a couple in bed, orders the guy out of bed, and ties him to a chair. The escaped prisoner then ties the wife to the bed and jumps on top of her, and it looks like he kissed her, then gets up and goes to the bathroom and closes the door. While he's in the bathroom, the husband whispers over to his wife, "Hey, he's an escaped convict. Look at his clothes." He's probably spent a lot of time in jail and hasn't seen a woman in years. I saw the way he kissed your neck. If he wants anything, don't resist, don't complain, just go with it. Satisfy him no matter what. This guy is obviously dangerous, and if he gets angry, he'll kill us both. Be strong, honey, and I love you. His wife looks at him, smiles, and says, he wasn't kissing my neck. He was whispering in my ear. He told me that he likes men and thinks you're cute and asked me where the Vaseline was. I told him it was in the bathroom. Be strong, honey, and I love you.
So I got a question, and a very serious question. I want to know why you heterosexuals see a gay man on social media acting or dressing a certain type of way, and the first question you ask is, what happened to our men? What you mean? And what is your actual perception of a man? Is it masculinity? Because if it is, that ain't it, sis. Meanwhile, gay men are out here doing your hair, your makeup, inventing hair products and skin products, running major corporations, getting married and having children. And let's not forget that you keep negating the fact that there are a lot of gay men out here who do a lot of masculine things. You do realize that there are millions of gay men out here who play sports. There are police officers, firefighters, there are forklift drivers, and they work in construction. The list goes on and on. And most importantly, let's not forget about our gay, lesbian, and trans teachers in the educational system. Now let's talk about all of these gay male fashion designers that you spend all of your money on in your local retail store. Michael Kors, Karl Lagerfeld, Rick Owens, Giorgio Armani, Calvin Klein, Alexander McQueen, Yves Saint Laurent, Balmain, Jill Sander, Gucci. Y'all women, y'all love Gucci, don't you? And did you even bother to ask where our men was while you were purchasing that red bottom shoe? Because yeah, Christian Louboutin, he gay too. Getting to my final point. First of all, stop equating a few gay or effeminate people to all of us gay people, because we are all not the same. Secondly, one effeminate gay man does not represent the entire gay community. And lastly, just because a man is in a wig and makeup don't mean he can't change your tire. But if you really want to know where the real men are, how about check the jail or the prison system?
I heard a new term on TikTok today that made me stop in my tracks.
We are living in the silent depression.
This guy believes we are not just living in worse than the Great Depression, we're living in the silent depression. The average annual income in 1930 for an American individual was a little over $4,800. Sounds like nothing, but if you adjust that for inflation, a little over $4,800 a year in 1930 is equivalent to almost $85,000 annually for the average salary for one person. Right now, the average annual salary is $56,000 a year. We currently are making less than the height of the Great Depression. In 1930, gas was on average 10 cents a gallon. That would be about $1.73. In case you haven't filled up your car lately, average cost of a gallon of gas is $3.55. To buy a new car in 1930 would have been about $860. It's worth about 15 grand. The average cost of a new car today is $48,000. And of course, the most coveted aspect of the American dream, being able to buy a house in 1930 cost about $3,900, less than $70,000. I spend way too much time on Zillow, so maybe this isn't surprising to me, but the average price of a home in America today is $416,000. How could we be living through worst cost of living and wages than 1930? And no politician, no media outlet, no one is talking about it.
That's Bidenomics. It's about growing an economy by strengthening the middle class.
For those of you who don't know, there's a journalistic documentary coming out called 1946. It's about two researchers who discovered how the word homosexual entered the English translation of the Bible. And surprise, surprise, it happened in 1946, which wasn't that long ago. The film specifically speaks to evangelicals and addresses how the Bible is not anti-gay. I just got done speaking on the 1946 Community Zoom tonight, and just FYI, the film is due to release either in the fall of 2023 or the winter of 2024, but it won't be coming out later than that. We don't have any more definitive dates than that, but just so you know, that's when they're looking to release it.
All right. So this has been week 226. I'm Aaron Mack. You can find me at Aaron Mack at versetv.com, AARONMCK at BERSTEAB.com. You can find Verse TV all over social media. Just search hashtag BERSTEAB and voila, we're there. And I got that from Sean Puff Daddy Combs. Diddy Combs. And yeah, just search hashtag VERSTEAV. Or you can even sometimes on the platforms where we're on, just search at VERSTEAV. We'll come right up. Basic Complexity, are you ready?
Yeah. All right. So I could definitely be found and always do the different one first. On TikTok, and I don't understand how someone got this name, but the name Basic Complexity was already taken. So I had to do a minor change to get the name. So on TikTok, I'm my basic complexity. So in that case, 3 words, merge them into one, no spaces. So that's MYBASICCOMPLEXITY. And like I said, that's TikTok. Now with Instagram, it's just basic complexity. So once again, that's BASICCOMPLEXITY. And also my email is basiccomplexity@versetv.com. And well, with that, I'll spell it out again. That's BASICCOMPLEXITY at VERSTEAV.com. And that's what I have.
All right. Again, this has been week 226. And I was debating about where to ask you this, but I made a timestamp, so I'll ask you here. Do you remember that Method Man, Redman album? Speaking of Method Man, on that song with Tamika Scott. Do you?
Yeah, album Blackout. I have it.
Me too. You know, it's so crazy that I that's one of those albums that I don't need to go into all of that. But I did like that album. I did feel like Method Man and Redman were giving me like Timbaland and Magoo, like.
Yes.
Did you get Timbaland and Magoo?
You said, did I get it? Actually, I literally just got it a few hours ago.
Really? Okay. Just got it like the MP3 or just got the actual CD?
Didn't get the actual CD, and I am trying to wean myself away from buying CDs anymore. That's a stretch, but I'm trying my best.
Yeah, it takes a moment. I had to wean myself off CDs a number of years ago. But yeah, you know, that's just where things are going. That's where things are.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Me personally, and it might sound extremely ancient, but it took me a minute to even switch from cassettes to CDs. I just wasn't ready for that yet.
Had you already amassed a collection of tapes?
Actually, no. At that point, I only had a few cassette tapes. And I mean, unlike when I switched to CDs, I have a ton of them. Now, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Name a couple of the tapes that you had. I'm just curious.
And because I haven't seen them in a long time, there are definitely the tapes basically me when I recorded music off the radio.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. I recorded Coco's entire solo album when they played it on Q93 back in New Orleans. Anyway, but go ahead.
I don't remember that.
Coco's solo album?
No, I mean, I don't remember hearing the full album on the radio.
Well, that was Q93 in New Orleans, so yeah.
Well,
I don't know what y'all did with 92 Q. What's the urban station in DC?
All right, that is 95.5.
That's the adult contemporary urban. Wow. But there's also a young folks urban.
I thought there was 95 point.
I don't think so.
Then there's also, because going off of memory here, there is also 93.9.
I think that's because I think it was one of the early 93 ones or early 90s ones.
Yeah, so I think that was it because I remember 93.9, 95.5, 102 point something. I don't recall.
Yeah. DC is an interesting place.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. I like DC though. I need to make it back there and reevaluate it. I was talking with
I was going to say it's definitely changed on probably countless levels.
Yeah.
Pretty.
No rebuttal here.
I'm pretty sure it's changed a lot.
I think it still holds on to some of the old qualities a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. Anyway. So tonight. So if tonight I asked you this question, but I'm gonna ask you again differently. So I think about the song, ooh, tell me if you know where this line came from. So if tonight is the night like Betty, right? Some out of sight.
I'm drawing a blank.
But does it sound familiar?
A little bit.
I know, I can't think of it. So if tonight is the night like Betty, right? I'm gonna treat you like you out of sight. Anyway, I can't think of it. Whatever. But okay. Hashtag VerseTV family. Peace. VerseTV.com. Stay blessed. Have a good night.